AITA for not giving my nephew half of my inheritane from my parents. Okay, some backstory. My brother got a girl pregnant basically right out of high school and was disowned by my parents because he wanted to stay in the kid's life instead of just paying monthly child support and going no contact. This led to him dropping out of college and working full-time to help support his girlfriend and his future kid. So recently my parents have decided to retire and move to the Bahamas, and they both left their companies to me, which are worth a good chunk of change since I was already working for them. Anyway, recently my nephew and his mom found out about this and inquired if they left their nephew anything. I told them that my parents didn't want anything to do with her or her kid and didn't leave her anything. My brother passed away 5 years ago. I thought that was all that was there to it, but she asked me if I would give her kid, my brother's half of the inheritance. Some more context: my parents didn't want my brother to have anything since believe he could make good decisions as the head of a company. I told her this and I assumed that was it since she left. Unfortunately, a few days later she's been pestering me about doing the right thing and giving the kid his share of his grandparents' wealth, and has basically been being a massive nuisance. Edit: for clarity, it's not legally inheritance, I just called it that because that's basically what they did, transferred the assets I'd get when they died to me a bit early since I don't know any other similar term. Your parents are assholes. Your family sucks, and your parents are awful. Info. I'm curious about if there's any information being left out. Is there something about your nephew's mother that your parents don't like? Their reactions seem excessive. Your parents are horrible people and absolutely are assholes in this situation. Disowning their son for not being a deadbeat was bad enough, but refusing to have a relationship with their grandson after their son died is even worse. Info. Your parents have retired, not died, so how can there be any inheritance? Your parents are the assholes here for not acknowledging their grandchild and trying to make their son reject his child. Now you are following in their footsteps. I don't think I'd give her half, but I think any decent person would want their nephew to grow up without being in poverty and want a relationship with their dead sibling's child. Maybe you could pay a monthly amount for child support? NTA. Your parents are for wanting your brother to abandon his son, but that's a separate story. Your brother, prior to his death, was the one responsible for creating a will, estate for his child. That being said, the money your parents gave you is yours to do with. Do you have a relationship with the girlfriend? Or did she just turn up out of the blue with her hand out? Would your brother want you to help provide something for his child? If so, determine what amount or percent you feel is appropriate. You aren't obligated to half. Perhaps create a trust to contribute towards his college or a down payment for his future home. I see two different judgments here. First, your parents. They get the award. Your brother took responsibility and did the right thing and took care of his son and his girlfriend. Disowning him and their grandson was morally repugnant. From what you described, it appears they will continue on this path until they pass. Second, you. At this point, your parents' assets are now your assets. What you said to your brother's partner is your parents' position. What is your position? You are not bound by your parents' actions. You get to make your own decision. What do you want to do? Turn your back on your nephew or make provisions? What was your relationship with your brother? What do you believe he would want you to do? This is something you need to reflect upon. Then act according to your conscience. I can't really give an honest judgment here, but you owe it to yourself to come to your own mind about this. NTA. Your parents are still alive. If your nephew has a problem with what he's getting, he can talk to them about it. So, I think this is the rare, yes but not necessarily wrong. As others have pointed out, there's no obligation to share any inheritance money. But is there a moral duty? Probably. What's legal, ethical and moral are often separate matters. Info. Did you have contact with your brother and his family after the disowning? Info. I need to know the ethnicity of your parents and your SIL to form an opinion. Editing for AITA and AmITheAsshole except SIL and the nephew. NTA. But I almost want to say everyone sucks here. I see your point of view and think your parents sound extremely cold in shunning their grandchild. If anything, it seems like a discussion she should be having with your parents, her child's grandparents. I realize the companies have already been transferred to you, but that was your parents' choice, not yours. And it's not like your brother would have inherited from you anyway. If she wants to convince your family to do the right thing, in her view, by providing some kind of financial assistance for your nephew now that your brother has passed, that's still a discussion for your parents. You and or your parents contributing to a college fund for your nephew doesn't seem totally unreasonable to me if you are in a financially stable situation. So, because your brother stepped up and took care of and loved the child he created, your parents disowned and disinherited him. And now you're following their terrible example and refusing your nephew and his mother money they could certainly use. Since your brother is dead, are you a family of cartoon villains? FFS. YTA. You owe your nephew nothing. Your parents owe your nephew nothing. If you are inclined to help them, that is up to you and your conscience. Your nephew is your brother's son and their responsibility. If they are gone, then that is unfortunate but no fault of yours. If you want to help your nephew, give them a chance at education by paying for schooling if you are able, or give them a job if they are qualified. Handing money to people does not solve problems, it furthers a sense of entitlement and solidifies ideas that they deserve something for nothing. Inheritance is usually divvied up upon death, not retirement. And when your parents do die, the grandson, nephew can contest the will. Edited to add, your parents don't sound like very nice people. You are only following your parents' wishes with their money. NTA. That being said, you could always set up an educational account that pays for some kind of schooling for your nephew. You could always set it up that he must remain child-free until the education is complete to get the money or something like that. NTA. It seems like you got the money because you worked at their company. People saying your parents are are also wrong and entitled, because people can choose whoever they want to give their money to. Who needs enemies if they have a family like and their parents? NTA. Your parents decide where their money goes and they chose you. Now it's yours. You decide. You don't owe the kid anything. But, if you could, it might be nice to set up a trust fund for college. It's not the kid's fault their dad got disowned. NTA. Ignore her. There's no guarantee anyone gets a share of anyone's wealth after death. And in your case, you earned it by working for both companies. She didn't even have a relationship with them and is now trying to emotionally blackmail you via your nephew into going under their noses and giving her a full half? Yikes.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.